Welcome back to Diving Into Watches, and we've got a good review today. When it comes to the world of diving watches, there are watches that are just iconic that stand out. Omega Seamaster, Rolex Submariner, the Seiko Willard. What else comes to mind off the top? Blancpain 50 Fathoms. And then on the more affordable side, you've got the G-Shocks, etc. But there's ones that have a long history militarily, horologically, that were there in the beginning when the watches started. One of those watches has a long history, long military history, but rarely gets talked about that much from what I've seen on Instagram and YouTube reviews. And I don't know why that is. There's just so many watches out there they are reviewed. But I remember seeing this watch when I was a kid back in the late 70s, watching if you're old enough to remember Jacques Cousteau, who did these documentaries that come on TV once a week about the ocean, and he helped co-design this type of watch, wore this type of watch, this dive watch, and the company is DOXA, and they've been around a very long time. They've been worn by the military. They've been worn by there was a program in the 70s. I think it was late, or maybe it was the 60s. I think it was before Skylab. Skylab was obviously the big space station they built, and then they lived up there for long periods of time. But I think it was before Skylab. Someone will correct me if I'm in the comments if I'm wrong. But there was one called Sealab, and they would spend 30, 60, 90 days on the bottom of the ocean, testing conditions for humans to live on the bottom of the ocean, do experiments, etc. Feasibility. So you had outer space, and then there was inner space. And DOXA was one of the watches that was worn on board the Sealab with Rolex and some of the other the big names of the time, Omega, etc. Been extremely happy with it. So without further ranting and without further drooling on the watch, let's jump over to the bench and let's take a look at the DOXA SUB 1500T. Okay, here we are over on the bench taking a look at the DOXA SUB 1500T. I apologize for the lights hitting it. My main light battery died, so I'm having to resort to the one I use when I work and fix watches. So before we jump into all the coolness of the watch, let's go ahead and jump over the dimensions. This watch case diameter is 45 millimeters. It is a lug to lug of 47 millimeters. It is a lug width of 21 millimeters. It is a case thickness of 16.25, and that's obviously because of the depth rating. It has the domed sapphire glass. It is 3/16 stainless steel metal bracelet. It is running an ETA 2892-2. It has 50 hours of power reserve, and it is running Superluminova on a Superluminova Bright. And it is, as it says, is 1500T professional, 1500 meters depth, or 5,200 feet. Not that I will ever be going that deep. About the deepest I go anymore is about 5 feet in my pool, or if I'm out in the ocean surfing, then 3 or 4 feet under a wave as it goes by. But if I ever had to go that deep, or for a reason I drowned and I go down that deep, well then, hey, you know what? This watch will still be going, and it can be passed on to the next generation. All kidding aside. So taking a look at this watch, you can see it is definitely just like the Sub 300 as far as the pillow, the cushion pillowcase. Just absolutely beautiful. The orange dial, the sword hand, the two small sword hands, and then the square. I don't know what they call that. Not a stop. That's not like their traditional. I got some thumbprints on here. It's not like their traditional. Oh, maybe those are some scratches. Oh, I got some scratches in the crystal. Man, you can tell I'm really banging this thing up. I did wear it to the range the other day for weapons recall. So that's what it is, man. It's a tool watch. But I'm just going to call it the stop signal, stop sign, square seconds hand. You got the date, you got the minute track on the inside. It is a 120 click unidirectional bezel. Very, very tactile, very, very firm clicks. Lines up perfectly back at the top. The date track on the outside. You have the, it's not quite, it's kind of a coin age bezel, but with some tracks in it. So maybe a coin age track bezel, very tactile. You get a good grip on it. The knurling on it's very, very nice. The case is brushed. The sides are polished, and then the back is polished. You have drilled and milled end links. They're screws. You have the helium release valve. You have the crown on the side with the DOXA symbol on it, the orange, the little DOXA fish on the side. And then the bracelet is not a beads of rice bracelet. I don't know what they call this style bracelet. If someone knows, tell me down in the comments. DOXA symbol on the clasp, and then you've got DOXA, and it is a full milled stainless steel clasp. It does have the diver's extension on it, which is very, very nice. I actually, here in Arizona, I will actually use that in the summertime, like one click, because it gets really hot and you start to swell a little bit. But it is very, very nice. It's very easy to use. Some of them can be a real pain. You get a nice extension out on this one. The end links are also screwed, and they are very, very, very tight. I suggest if you get one of these and at the time that you're buying it, have them size it for you. I literally had to put this in a vise and then use 2 screws on each side and use pliers to get this thing undone. I don't know if they use Loctite on this, but it sure felt like it, which would make sense. And then you, as I said, you have screw end links, and they're milled. The back of the case is a solid case back, and it gives you the information on the watch, helium release valve, patented bezel, goes to the serial number, stainless steel, Swiss made, etc. All the same stuff you always see. Firm clasp, double deployment, you got the push there, and then you got the lock. So very, very comfortable. An excellent, excellent watch. I love the coloring. We will take a look at the loom. The loom is excellent. We will throw it on the time grapher because it is a 4 hertz, 28,000 VPH high beat movement in it. So we can see how well it's doing. I don't know how well it's going to do because I haven't worn it probably in... well, no, I wore it on Saturday for weapons recall, and then I did wear it for church on Sunday. So I've worn it the last few days, but I have not worn it. No, I'm sorry. I wore it Friday, Saturday, but I did not wear it Sunday. So it hasn't been worn, and it hasn't been wound. So I don't know how well it's going to do the timer, but we will do that on there. It is a chunk of a watch. I don't have the exact weight, but I can tell you at 45 millimeters and a 16.25 millimeters thickness, it is a chunk, but it wears very, very comfortably on the wrist. We will get some wrist shots. Before we do that, I am wearing my Glycine Combat Sub GL038. I absolutely love this watch. Doesn't get a lot of wrist time. I think you're going to see a lot of Glycine popping back into the news and becoming popular again, being probably one of the most affordable Swiss watches you can get, regardless of Invicta owning them. I did do a review on this watch. Go check it out. I have it on a Zulu Tropics full FKM strap. I think it's just a gorgeous combo, and the thinness, 11.5 millimeters as compared to the DOXA Sub. So let's do a loom shot, and then we will put it on the time grapher and take a look at it on the time grapher and see what kind of time it's keeping at a 2892-2. So let's go ahead and flip on the blue light. Okay, there's the loom. You can see it glows very, very nice. That Super Luminova works excellent. You've got the hands are loomed, the numerals are loomed, and then you've got a loomed orange at the top at the 12 o'clock. The hands glow very, very brightly still. You can see the hands fading a little bit, but that's just because it hasn't been worn outside and hasn't been charged in the sun. We'll hit it again with the blue, and you can see it just, you're getting what you pay for. I think the loom is excellent, to be expected, not too overpowering, but how much do you really use loom? A lot, unless you're diving into dark areas, and we're just not that much in dark anymore. But overall, the loom is very, very good. So let's flip the lights back on and get this on the time grapher. Okay, here we go. First test, minus 16. Second test, minus 13. Third test, minus 16. Beat error is 0.01, and the amplitude is 247. And the fourth test is minus 16. I think that's just because it hasn't been worn, because you can see it's minus 13. It's probably a little off, but not too bad. Obviously, well within parameters, minus 13. Minus, what's the third test going to be here? Minus 14. And fourth and last test is going to be minus 14. So you can see overall, now some people will complain and say that's horrible, blah, 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 blah. You know what? That's way better than Seiko and a lot of brands, a lot of watches, even some higher end watches. For 4 hertz beat, could you have that regulated? Sure, absolutely. I think if I'd been wearing this for a couple days in a row, I think it'd be different. This hasn't been worn. I just wound it before I put it on the timer. And as you know, it's like a cold car when it first starts, doesn't run as well as once it's warmed up. So it's neither here nor there, but there's what you're looking at at a 2892, just wound up and thrown on the time grapher. So overall, I'm fine with that. All right, so there you go, folks. There it is, the loom. There it is on, whoops, I'm hitting the camera here. There it is on the time grapher. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it off so you can see what it looks like on my wrist. I have a 6¼ inch wrist, so you got a big, thick watch, 45. So if you have anything bigger than a 6¼ I can tell you this is gonna look just fine on your wrist. But let me pop off this glycine. And there it is on my 6¼ inch wrist. I think it works. I think it fits absolutely perfectly. Not too heavy, not too slug. It doesn't rock around. I think it looks good even on 6¼ I think that's because the lug width at 47 is really good. It's under 50, so it makes the watch look much smaller than it is, kind of like a Marathon or the man, my mind just blanked out. The Bull of a Devil Diver is another one, or the Captain Willard, which does kind of the same thing. A bigger watch but looks small on the wrist. I think it's absolutely comfortable, perfect. I think it looks really, really good. I think you'd be very happy. This could easily be worn by someone with a 7½, even an 8-inch wrist, no problem. If the size is a little concern to you, then I would definitely tell you go with the sub 300T. I think those are 39. I think the sub 200 is 39 and the sub 300 is 40 millimeter. And I also did a review of the sub 300. You can go back in my videos. I'll put a link. You can go down there and watch that review on that one also. So let's jump back over and let's give you my final thoughts and my kind of wrap it up on the DOXA sub 1500T professional shark hunter. Well, there you go, folks. There is the review of the DOXA sub 1500T shark hunter. As I stated in the beginning, I think DOXA is a highly, highly underrated watch. It has the horological history, it has the military history, it has the civilian NASA Sea Lab history. It's got Jacques Cousteau tied to it in the development. It's one of the OG dive watches. I think it's definitely underlooked. I think the sub 300 is probably the most popular of the line. The sub 1500 just being the big brother of it. If size is an issue, the 45 being a little larger, then definitely look at the sub 200, which I think is 39 millimeters, and the sub 300 is 40 or 41 millimeters. Had I seen a sub 300 on the used market, I would have picked it up. But I have no qualms about picking up the sub 1500 just because you don't see a lot of people wearing them out there. Hell, you don't see a lot of people wearing DOXAs, period. So it's a great watch to have. It's not the watch that everybody's wearing. So I would encourage you to go look at DOXA, check them out online, check them out in retail, check and look and see if you can find a good one on the used market. I think it's a fantastic watch. I don't think you'll go wrong. And thank you for everyone. I'm sorry the videos have been kind of far apart. If you've been with me a while, you know I've been back in school working on my degree. I literally walk on March 1st of 2025 to finish my degree, a bachelor's in science and management. It's been a long time coming, so thank you for working and sticking with me through this as I've got that done. Now that that degree will be done, I'll probably be able to focus more time on watches and trying to figure out what I want to do in the future with the channel. So please, as always, hit that, give me that like. That helps drive the algorithm. Hit that subscribe button so you always get the notifications on all new content when it drops. Any questions, any comments, put them down in the comments. I love to have conversations with everybody, good, bad, ugly. I respond to them all, even the hater ones. You know, everybody's entitled to their opinions unless you get crude and nasty and then just delete your comment. We don't need that. Any questions you want to ask me, put them down in the comments. I've been accumulating a lot of the questions. I am going to do a Q&A video eventually. So stay tuned. I got another video coming. I built my brother-in-law a really cool custom blinged out dive watch style, kind of like it's based off the Rolex Daytona, but the jewel bezel. I'm going to do a review on that watch. So stay tuned for that one. But as always, hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Do the right thing. Be kind to others because you don't know the battles that other people are fighting. And as always, I'm diving into watches. I'm out.